Welcome to the Pizza Pod Party with Arthur Bavino and Alfred Schultz. On today's show,
New York Times opinion columnist Jamelle Bouie is our guest. Then pizza news, and our topic is Bosco sticks.
Another sort of political episode. I'm Alfred Schultz. Welcome to the party, pal.
And I'm Arthur Bovino of NYC Best Pizza. I'm a New York-based author and editor who's been writing about America's Best Pizza since 2012. And Alfred, I am psyched because my copy of Super Pizza World by Chicago Thin Crust Pizza Pro John Carruthers arrived this week. Do you know Crust Fund? We've talked about this before. This is Chicago thin pop-up that is in an alley at an undisclosed location. This book follows 2021's Pizza for Everyone, described as a long-lost throwback church cookbook from a parish that never existed. He's got pizza puff, Bosco sticks, wings, stuffed mushrooms, Italian beef, White Castle pizza, and all kinds of non-Chicago stuff. Oyster pizza? What do you think about that? Bagel pizza? Contributed by some fun names in the food and pizza world. You got to pick up a copy. John has raised over $80,000 for community organizations doing great things in Chicago. And apparently I am now a native son of the greater Chicagoland area.
Wow. Take a breath. My goodness. That was a lot of information. And
it's exciting though.
Very
this is
exciting.
So cool.
Yes.
It's such a cool
very
book.
Cool.
He does such a great job with the design. We should talk to John at some point on the show because you two guys with your Chicago land simpatico-ness, and he's a great guy doing great stuff for Chicago.
I assume that anybody you know that's a pizza person from Chicago probably hates me because I don't know what I'm talking about. That's my assumption. I don't want people to hate me. I have opinions. They're often uneducated opinions, but I just assume that they probably hate me. And wow. I'll just leave that out there.
I put myself on the couch in some upcoming interviews. Maybe we gotta get you on the couch too.
Sure.
Here.
Or
off.
Trust
I don't
me.
know which one.
I need to be on that couch for sure. This is a good one yet again. I mean, what are the odds? We're batting 1,000. Every single episode's good. That's pretty great, right? Like,
I mean, I can't argue with you.
Jamelle Bouie, really good talk with him. I know this is sort of two, I hate to say political conversations in a row. You know what the show is turning into?
What is
this? Is like a
tell me.
Firing line. Should be on your public PBS. Very dry. Start off with like Baroque classical music. This is really just becoming a political discussion. So with some of the great intellects.
Vivaldi in the background. Dun, 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 dun,
I was thinking more Bach, like Firing Line, but that's just me. But yeah, so this is a very dry, no, absolutely not. Really great conversation with Jamelle Bouie. Your topic is something I've never heard of before, so that should be fun.
Maybe you're not really from Chicago. Maybe that's really, you really are not.
That's why I'm sure people hate
even
me.
The Chicagoland area. I mean,
That's why I'm assuming everyone hates me who's from there, who knows a lot about pizza, because I'm flapping my gums talking to these cool guests, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
All right.
Well, let's get moving. Let's get to Jamelle Bouie, our guest, all right?
it's the Pizza Pod Party special guest.
Jamelle Bouie is a columnist. He was a staff writer for the Daily Beast and the chief political correspondent for Slate. Currently, he is a columnist for the New York Times and is the co-host of the Unclear and Present Danger podcast. We welcome Jamelle Bouie to the show.
I've noticed that I've been saying really fun talk. That is a crutch, verbal crutch. So this was a delightful conversation with Jamelle Bouie. We touched on a lot. First off, he's sort of an expert on his home state of Virginia, which was fun because that's a state we haven't really discussed too much. We've talked about the peripheral area with D.C., but this was good talking about Virginia, the University of Virginia. I really enjoyed that conversation. It wasn't totally pizza related, but illuminating nonetheless. And an interesting thing he talked about was how the frustrations of people who behave one way on social media and being inauthentic on social media, that's something I think that people should take away from this. And of course, an awesome conversation about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, which I think we were all waiting for. And finally, we delved into that. Delve into that. I don't know how to speak, Arthur.
I've been down into, I've delved.
I don't know.
How do we say that?
I don't know. I've lost my mind.
I've delved down into some areas that we talked about with Jamelle, and it was interesting to get his perspective on the places that I have visited and in other places I haven't. Interesting part of the country for pizza. Great talk. Kind of crazy that we had the oversight of not doing TMNT during our movie episode, which if you haven't,
I feel like it might have been mentioned.
Yeah.
You know what we did talk about, if you want to go back? Michael Ian Black was a turtle, a promotional turtle at Pizza Hut. So that's a fun episode to rediscover too. But no, this was good. We needed more turtles in this podcast.
Deep dive in TMNT.
Here's Jamelle Bouie on the Pizza Pie Party. All right, it's sort of a long wind-up to get things started with you. We try to get guests on this show that are, especially at this point, I try not to think of them as foodie people. I just try to get the best people I can, most interesting people, and then I sort of retrofit it, do research into them and their relationship with food. And I'm sort of embarrassed because I got into you. I had actually booked you on other shows years ago. But I was in politics, covering politics for SiriusXM and also public radio before that. And, the past few years I've been digesting less and less politics for obvious reasons, mental health mainly.
I think it's a good thing. I encourage that.
Thank you. Yes. But my old colleague, Chris Hassett, knows that. And he was just like, hey, you should start getting back into...
How many name drops are you going to do here? Let's go. Come on.
He's a big name drop. It's a big name drop right there. But he's like, Jamelle, you got to start reading him again. I'm like, all right. But that was right when we started doing this. I was thinking, oh, he'd be a great guest, I think. Again, not thinking about you and food. I'm just like, he would be a fun person to have on. And then after I book you, I'm thinking, I'm almost embarrassed. You have done a lot of food content that I was just completely unaware of. You've been on Doughboys a ton of times. You did a live show with them in DC. And I'm listening to this, being embarrassed, I thought we were so original. I thought, it turns out we're just hacks, one of another, many food podcasts that want to have you on. Yeah, sorry. I'm the hack.
It's funny. It's a whole separate, there's the people who know me as a professional political observer and read my column and whatever. And it's people over the age of 50. And then I have this whole separate demo of people who have only vague awareness of my views, but know me as a Doughboys guy, a cereal reviewer, or a guy who talks about exotic chips on TikTok. It's a whole separate category of people.
I guess I fall into the old man then category for that, which is insane because I'm in the food world at this point. So that's crazy. It's I'm kind of self-owning myself, I guess, as the kids would say. Well, what do you think it is? What about covering food and discussing food? What do you prefer to be known as, actually? Do you want to be more known as the food guy at this point, or the New York Times political wonk?
That's interesting. I don't have a preference. I kind of just
don't try and put him in a box. Don't try and put him. Why does he have to? Yeah, come on.
Well, that's the other thing multitudes. I do. I want people to be in boxes.
I mean, fitting, Yes. No, I don't really have a preference there. It's the food stuff is just fun for me. I care a lot about food. I grew up in a household of people who cared a lot about food, and so it's sort of when I met the Doughboys, I met Nick and Mitch. It's I'd love to be on the show. When Serious Eats approached me to review cereal, I was yeah, sure, that sounds fun. And then in my just everyday life, it's food is a really important thing. As I was walking to the office, I was making a mental checklist of what I needed to buy to cook next week for dinner. So it's it's just part of a. It's
what
part
are
of
you?
my.
What are you going to cook next week for dinner?
Well, my son who loves fish, really wants me to make some salmon burgers.
Oh, okay.
So.
You make those from scratch, or do you you get salmon burgers and then make those, or do you make salmon burgers themselves?
You catch the fish.
I make them from scratch.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't catch the fish.
Okay.
No, make them from scratch. So just am I gonna buy raw salmon and then sort of because there's two ways to make them. You can make them what's called salmon croquettes, where you buy the canned salmon that's already cooked and you kind of mix it up with your various things and then pan fry them, or you could buy raw salmon and then basically sort of turn it into a mince.
Yeah.
And then make a patty. I think I'm going to go that direction.
impressive though, because fish, if it's not like a fish stick, it can be polarizing for kids. And, you know, that can sort of segue into asking you about your home life. You got 2 kids.
I have 2 kids.
How is the pizza ordering? Are there arguments? How has it evolved, devolved? Where are we at right now when it comes to ordering pizza with in your household?
You know, my kids have surprisingly broad palates, but on pizza, they're very much my daughter, I only want a slice of plain cheese pizza, and my son, I only want pepperoni. Like otherwise, now I'll say if there's another kind of more exotic pizza around, like if I order, usually it goes, I order 2 larges, one is half cheese, half pepperoni, and then the other is just like whatever my wife and I want to eat.
Yeah.
And let's say we get like a white pizza with like wild mushrooms, which is what my wife really likes. My son might want to try that. He might like after he's had his pepperoni, it's like, okay, I've satisfied my craving. Now I'll branch out. If I were just to present him with like a non-pepperoni option from the jump, he'd be like, what's going on here?
All right. Well, 2 larges. I like hearing that because I have 2 kids and one's 5 years older than the other. So I have a 6-year-old and a 1-year-old. And I'm nervous about what those pizza orders are going to be because we've gotten very used to the 1 large. We cut up a slice. We do that kind of thing to trick her into, she thinks she's eating 2 slices, but really it's just 1. But I'm nervous. I have a boy coming up. We're going to have to start ordering 2 larges? That?
Yeah, it happens faster than you think. The whole boys start consuming huge amounts of food.
That stinks.
We were in where were we? We were somewhere and just ordering dinner, and we got out to a restaurant, and the kids menu comes by, and my son, who is 6, is like, "Can I order from the adult menu?" And we were like, "Sure." No problem, because his sister who's 3, like she like eats half a meal, so it's like whatever. Yeah. She can like pick off of our plates, doesn't even matter. So he orders an adult sized portion. He loves fish. There's an adult sized portion of like fried fish and like French fries.
Wow.
And then we got like a salad to share, and he ate every single thing, like everything on the plate. And he's a tall, skinny child. Like it's not as if he's rail thin and just consumes, you know.
It starts to be obnoxious when you like, I have a nephew like that, and I'm just like, how dare you? How dare you, you know, be skinny and eat whatever you want? Even when I was little, I was chubby. So like, I can't even, in no part of my life could I relate to that. So like, that's no fun to hear.
I feel like with kids, though, there's also like pepperoni can be spicy for some of them. And that's something that I didn't, like, you know, like growing up, like that wasn't even a thing. It was just like, you just ate it. It was pepperoni. It's not spicy. Yeah. And like, you know, even my son, I mean, we go to Two Boots near his school, and he stopped wanting to eat it because he said that the marinara was spicy. I'm like, what are you talking? Like the pizza sauce is spicy. And then I looked, and it said, like, actually on the menu, it does say like there's like some, you know, some heat in there, some hot peppers or something. I can't remember what it was, cayenne or something like that. And I was like, oh, I guess so. But like pepperoni spicy? I mean, I feel like it's just pepperoni.
We eat lots of, I wouldn't say spicy food, but like I'm always like, I cook a lot of like Indian and Mexican at home, and so we're just like always using spices. So like spicy things don't really faze them. There's a level at which they'll be like, okay, this is hot, I don't want to eat this. But like if I throw in like, if I'm making a pizza at home, right, and if I throw in like a healthy pinch of red pepper flakes into the marinara to give it like a little bit of a kick, they're not even going to notice. It's not even going to like phase them.
All right, but you said the magic words there to me. So what you make pizza at home? How often? How do you do it? What's your go-to? What's your process here?
So generally, when we have pizza at home, like we'll usually have it at home twice a month. One time I'll order, and one time I'll make it at home. Okay. That's sort of the thing. We just use the home oven. It's like a fancy convection oven, so it can get pretty hot.
Okay.
But I do like a 2-stage baking process. Like I spread out the dough, lightly sauce it to keep it from just like bubbling up, and then like pop it in for a couple minutes just to give it like a par cook, and then take it out and like put all the toppings on. And it's like not a fancy, it's like a 73%. I'm about to say something that's like, I'm about to say this is not that fancy, and I'm about to tell you the hydration of the dough.
Like, wait a second, I just entered pizza nerd territory.
So it's usually just like a 75% hydration dough. with like commercial yeast. Sometimes I have a sourdough starter that I've had for years.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll do like a sourdough deal. And then that'll be a higher hydration one just because I feel like sourdough stuff can just like take more water.
And Alfred, that just means it's a wetter dough, Alfred. That just means it's a
okay. Yeah, no, I've been blanking. I haven't understand a single word in the past 2 minutes. So
and I'll make like a pretty straightforward marinara. Pick up some cheese, and for the kids, cheese and pepperoni. We have a really nice butcher in town, and they do their own pepperoni.
Nice.
It's hard to it's very popular. Like it's one of those things where you have to pay attention to their website.
Yeah, what's the butcher? Do you remember the butcher's name?
The butcher is they're called Stock Provisions.
Okay,
just like some local guys. They're super cool. If you show up on a Tuesday, you can just go in and watch them butcher a pig.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
So do you have any very big opinions about pizza making besides the process that you just outlined? Are there any things that you'll any hills that you'll die on when you're making pizza? And do you use a steel or stone in this convection oven?
I use a stone.
Okay.
I have no strong opinions, honestly. It's very much sort of I feel like I'm moderately okay at making pizza. Like I would not. If
You're
I
using
invited
sourdough, you've got to have a certain level of skill set.
I would invite friends over to have. I feel like I make pizzas good enough that I would not feel bad serving them to friends. Like they taste good,
Okay.
but sort of
Pizza tastes good.
But pizza tastes good. But when I think about a favorite slice or something, it's like I haven't made anything as good as a favorite slice. So
Okay.
That's sort of my benchmark. But I have no strong opinions. I'm willing to try anything. If someone's like, "Hey, you should try this," sure, no problem.
So where are you ordering from when you're ordering? Because now you talked about making it once a month and you order it, so where are you ordering from?
And in Charlottesville, right?
Charlottesville.
So Charlottesville, Virginia.
So for years, this is pizza history of Charlottesville. I went to UVA, and
Yes.
As a student, the kind of standard pizza people ordered, if it wasn't Domino's or whatever, it's from a place called Christian's Pizza. It was on near the student drag. And they had another place in downtown Charlottesville. And the family that owns Christian's, I think for whatever reason, other members split from that business and opened up their own variations, but it's all sort of the same kind of slice. Not New York thin, but sort of reasonably thin crust. Lots of, your standards and also lots of crazy toppings and stuff like that. And that was it pretty much in terms of non-chain pizza availability when I was in college up until the middle of the 2010s. And then there opened up a fancy Neapolitan place called Lampo. And they kind of took over the pizza game in terms of sort of if you wanted something higher end. There is an Italian kind of restaurant supply store that also happens to have a coal-fired pizza oven in the back. And they started making pies around this time. One of the Christians offshoots closed down. I feel like someone else opened. There is a place that kind of renovated that's out in the county called Dr. Ho's Humble Pie, which they make really solid pizzas, but they're 30 minutes away. So it's kind of a pain to order from them. But in the current era, we have two new pizza restaurants, another new Neapolitan place, and then it's kind of a Roman style pizza place that does primarily sourdough stuff. So at this moment, when I order, if they're open, I order from the Italian restaurant store.
Okay.
Because to my mind, they make kind of the most solid pizza in town, most reliably, very good, my kind of style pizza in town.
I'm looking at the Christian's menu, and there are two things on here that I want to ask you about. One is, I've never seen this before. Black bean sauce on pizza. Have you seen that on their menu, and have you tried it?
I have never tried that. I've seen that. I've never tried it.
The other thing that they have on their menu, which I feel like is probably controversial, is sliced avocado on pizza. Have you had that? And what are your thoughts about being open-minded about avocado on pizza? You said you don't have very strong opinions.
I have tried that out of curiosity many years ago. And it's not bad. It's just a hat on a hat, It's the cheese is already so fatty, right? It already gives you that kind of creamy, savory note. And then the avocado is just more of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I don't avocado is great on a taco, in part because it's like it's
Yeah.
a different textural element. But like on a pizza, it's like, well, I already get some of this from just the key ingredients. It's not bad.
But you wouldn't do it again.
I wouldn't do it again.
You're like, I've
It's
been
like,
there,
it's-
I've done that, I got it. Don't need to do that again.
It's interesting because it in a weird way it feels in different ways it's almost like a pineapple thing where it's also just like I don't know the temperature feels wrong for that kind of fruits and I can't articulate I don't know why but that it just doesn't feel like the right texture if that even makes sense.
Yeah, like
but yeah, it doesn't feel right.
I get the pineapple thing. It's like it's a sweet savory thing, but just like I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's too wet.
Yeah.
It's too like it's weird when it's hot. Like you know what I mean? Pineapple's so good cold and like juicy and cold, and that element of it to me, which is like the best element of it, is sort of wasted entirely when it's on a pizza.
I feel like the other problem with pineapple and pizza is that it often is they're just putting raw pineapple.
Mhm.
If you were to like to grill some pineapple and like
Yeah.
caramelize the pineapple and like give it like some additional character to it, I think that could work. But it's
Yeah.
often just you open up a can of pineapple, you drain it, and it's like you put it on the pizza, and that doesn't sound very good to me.
I haven't been to Christian's or Lampo, but I have been to Crozet Pizza, which is about 12 miles west of Charlottesville.
Yep.
I'm wondering, Alfred, you would love this place. It's very much a tavern. It's wooden booths, those super kind of like, church pew wooden booths. And, there's like National Geographics on the shelves and it's that kind of place. They also have a cool t-shirt. It's one of my favorite t-shirts in my pizza t-shirt collection. I'm wondering if you've been there, if you have any thoughts on that spot. I'm not saying it's like the best pizza I've ever had in the world, but it's a
looks
solid
cool.
place.
It looks cool for sure.
I haven't been to Crozet. So when I was in college, that was like it was like a trip. It's like let's go out to Crozet Pizza. There's like a brewery nearby. And go to the brewery.
It's like an all
hang
day
out.
thing.
You felt like kind of like I'm 21 and I'm like I'm doing stuff.
Okay.
Upperclassmen stuff.
Right, yeah. So in college, did that a couple times, but like I wasn't a huge fan of the pizza itself, and so I feel like when I was younger, pizza's pizza, whatever, I'll eat it. But now I'm totally at the age. It's like, listen, these are valuable calories, right? Sort of like,
It's got to be good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Monday through Friday. I'm eating like a fucking mug. So, if I'm gonna have some pizza, it needs to be sufficiently good to justify the fact that I'm eating 16 ounces of meat, cheese, and bread.
Okay.
Well, I want to talk about college too, because I did years ago an event at UVA, and I'm a sucker for weird college traditions, not like not like bad ones, but like cool ones. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a fraternity kind of guy. Like I don't like that stuff. But
I love
like
hazing.
Yeah, I love
branding.
Dude, I love a good hazing. Oh man, I love it. No, but I love weird things that almost like how at old baseball diamonds, like old stadiums have their own unique weird thing. And I remember being blown away at UVA and seeing how they had that tradition of like those senior houses on the lawn that like I overthought it so much, where they have these like beautiful brick little like almost huts with rocking chairs out front that you live, selected seniors, I guess, live in like a little bunk, and it looks like something out of the 1700s. It looks like literally, I think like Jefferson would like plop himself in and do his homework there, and they would have a plaque of every single person who like lived in one or in the one that you're in signed, and like Edgar Allan Poe was in one. You could overthink it and be like, don't you want to live off campus when you're a senior and have like a house or something like that? And that you had to go outside to use the bathroom, like you had to walk outside. I just thought that was so cool and weird. Did you have any connection with those? Is there any other info about that I should know about?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you all about those. I didn't live in one, but they have
a fireplace too. Like it's crazy.
Right. So the rotunda plus the lawn rooms and the pavilions is called the Academical Village. It's like the original UVA.
Yeah.
And so way back when in the 19th century, that's just where where students lived.
Yeah.
On campus. That's where they may have kept their slaves. So that's
weird stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the original part of UVA. These days it is very much an honor. So it's like you can apply to live on the lawn your junior year. The lawn residents themselves select the next year's lawn residents.
Oh, weird. Okay.
this used to be more formal. Like, it used to be the case that certain lawn rooms actually belonged to certain organizations. So I was in this kind of debating society fraternity called the Jefferson Society.
I hear they had great hazing.
Yeah, well, kind of.
Oh boy.
They're the oldest student organization on grounds, and they used to have their own like dedicated lawn room. Like, it was sort of, this is the society's room.
Okay, yeah.
And when I was there, the administrators were like, "We don't like this." So you have to. And so the way it worked is, if you wanted to live in that room, you had to be in the society, and the society chose the resident of that room every year. And now it's like it's part of the pool. But if you are in the Jefferson Society and you get a lawn room through the normal way, then you get to be in that room. So that's less formal, but informally, the various lawn rooms do kind of like belong to certain organizations.
Okay.
And the kids who live on the lawn tend to be, like, as you might expect, sort of the most high achieving, like ambitious, go on to work in Washington, or like, go to law school, work in big law, like those kind of kids are lawn residents. Often also very activist oriented kids. So
interesting.
It's a whole thing. And it's honestly kind of fun. The lawn room residents every year around Halloween host trick-or-treating on the lawn, and basically sort of like every child in Charlottesville comes to the lawn.
Oh, wow.
And sort of like the various organizations will sponsor rooms, and so like they'll drop like $1,000 on candy, and you bring your kids, and you just like collect ungodly amounts of candy. In the pavilions, faculty live in the pavilions. Often they will host classes in the pavilions as well. So my junior year, I took a seminar in one of the pavilions. So it's neat.
They're
cool.
striking. Like it was a striking thing to see, and the fireplaces and like the old timey desks. It was very cool. Like,
it feels very 19th century, right? Like sort of in the summer, or as the summer approaches, like students will be on their rocking chairs, like reading. You'll have like some 22-year-old in a rocking chair, maybe wearing like a sport coat and reading Hegel, and it's like,
it's all affectation,
UVA,
but it's kind of
baby.
Cool. It's pretty cool.
Like a pipe hanging out of the corner.
Yeah, you got to start
his
smoking a
arm
pipe
out.
if you get one. I think that should be part of it.
There is I feel like for like 80% of students at UVA, it's like a nice college, a nice place to go.
Yeah.
But like 1 out of 5 students just completely adopt every UVA affectation. It's like, and I'm not gonna lie, that was me. Like, I was just like, I love this shit.
Sure, yeah. Well, and you stayed there afterwards. You loved it so much. I mean, did you live right after college? You just stayed in Charlottesville?
No, I moved to DC. I lived in DC
that makes sense,
for almost 10 years. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that obviously makes sense. But you also grew up in Virginia Beach, and we haven't touched on that yet. What are your earliest pizza memories there in Virginia Beach?
My earliest pizza memories are eating Papa John's.
Okay, fair.
That was like our household chain pizza of choice. My dad didn't really make pizza at home, and I have no memories of any kind of like local pizza shop. This would have been the 90s as well. And it's like, I'm not sure, like outside of like the historic pizza regions of the United States.
Yeah.
Like they're the kind of like slice shop or pie shop that I think is a little more common around the country wasn't as much.
Yeah.
You guys can tell me if I'm right about this, but it seems to me that like in the last like 20 years, it's become much more common that if you're like outside of the Mid-Atlantic or New England, outside of, a major city, where there were a lot of Italian immigrants, basically coming through, or Greek immigrants coming through. It's more common to just be able to find like a decent pizza shop, versus in my memory, it's sort of like, if you weren't in one of those hubs, it was just chain pizza, and it was sort of like, what was your preferred chain pizza?
Because like Italian food, to your point, like if you don't come from an area with a lot of Italian immigrants, Italian food is exotic, especially back then. Now, like like foreign foods have proliferated like the whole continent basically. But like I think that's what it was. Like some of the pizzerias were just old Italian restaurants, and then
Alfred, I'm bristling a little bit at you calling my heritage here exotic. I really don't feel like that's an appropriate.
I
use
wish
of
I
the
had
term,
something
but,
exotic. I'm boring. I wish I had something.
I think Italian, spicy whites.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. My knee-jerk reaction to talking about pizza chains as a pizza nerd, is to obviously like denigrate them or whatever else. But I don't want to do that. I want to celebrate this for a second.
Yeah.
I want to ask you for your what positive memories do you have of Papa John's? Was there a go-to pie that you guys would order? Was there anything specific about growing up going there or having it delivered that that resonates with you today?
And why also follow up? Why also do you 100% subscribe to Papa John's politics, which I think was a surprise.
Stop piggybacking on my questions, Alfred.
I think you should be on the record to defend that. I don't know.
Listen, sometimes we use the wrong words. I should ask my parents if they order Papa John's all these days.
New ownership, I believe, so it's all fine, right? I'm sure it's fine.
No, the main, so it was typically Papa John's, sometimes Pizza Hut. But the main Papa John's memory I have is just like that garlic sauce. It just my brother and I just like love that garlic sauce. It's like very exciting. And since this was the 90s, sometimes we would go to a Pizza Hut for like a sit down pizza meal.
Of course you did.
And personal pan pizza, the whole 9 yards, salad bar. I have like a mental map of the layout. You would come in, and then around the corner, there was 2 NBA Jam machines.
Oh, man, of course there was.
Yeah.
So if we had extra quarters, we'd play NBA Jam.
Yeah. Oof.
While waiting for our pizza.
The best.
Alfred loves to talk about pizza as a way to bring us all together, even if you come from a wide ranges of the political spectrum. But recently you said on Blue Sky, I strongly believe there should be a moratorium on election advice from weird antisocial losers who would struggle to order a pizza on the phone, which resulted in a stream of comments that ranged from please run for office to, go order a pizza for yourself and, in a much stronger terms. So I'm wondering, what your thoughts are about the intersection of pizza and politics.
Yeah, that's so funny that there was a reaction on Twitter too, where people were like, Jamelle Bouie is the meanest person on the internet. He doesn't engage in ideas. He's just so mean. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like in the order of mean things said on the internet, that's like pretty tame.
It's pretty tame. Yeah. Pretty tame.
And in fairness, the guy I was talking about is kind of a big loser. So it's not like I was inaccurate. No, I mean, so listen, pizza can bring us together. I do think that there is, as someone who's been in the political commentary game for a while and who's like met a lot of people, I do think there's like a kind of person who on the internet can talk a really big game about what should be done, but is like basically incapable of interacting in social situations. And I feel like that, like, if no offense to people with anxiety by any means, but if you're really aggressive on the internet and then in real life, like, are afraid of talking to people, I think you got to choose one. I really think you have to choose one. I think you have to decide what kind of, like, I'm not someone who thinks there should be a separation between like your internet personality and your real life personality. Like, I'm a very strong believer that the internet may not be real life, but like you should not talk to people on the internet in a way that you would not say that to someone in real life. Like, I'll call someone a loser in real life. Like, I don't give a shit.
Before we started, you kept on saying that to me. I was like, oh, my apologies. I'm doing my best.
It's just how I was just raised in a way that's sort of like you should not, throw a stone and hide your hand. You should say what you mean to people. Even if that might be harsh, and if you're gonna say something harsh, just like own it and own the consequences of what that might be.
But also weigh your words. Like, it's also like, if you're gonna say something harsh, like, mean it and be deliberate and know what you're saying, and don't just be reactionary and like, be thoughtful.
Or if you're not gonna be thoughtful, just own that you're not being thoughtful.
Sure,
like, I 100% will own up to being mean on the internet sometimes. It happens. But I do think pizza can bring people together. In 2012 I was covering the Republican primaries and did attend like a pizza event in Iowa with like Rick Santorum and like ate a slice of
Rick Santorum,
bad pizza and talked to some Republican voters.
Yeah,
you know?
that goes way back. Rick Santorum.
Yeah, Rick Santorum. Kids, if you're under the age of 30 listening to this, Rick Santorum was a Pennsylvania congressman who was known for being pathologically anti-gay. So much so that his name ended up becoming
gosh, I even forgot about that aspect.
A reference to
his Google problem.
Like a sexual act or something. He a very early case of having a Google problem.
Yeah. Oh man.
Because he sucks so much.
And I remember Glenn Beck would often call him like, I think Rick Santorum might be the new George Washington. Like somehow there was a brief moment Rick Santorum was like a thought leader, and then all of a sudden nothing.
He was in that primary. He was the last man standing next to Romney. Yeah, he was the one who
stuck
went
around
the furthest before. Yeah, he stuck around.
That's right.
I saw Anthony Weiner biking by me the other day in the East Village also. So
trying to stick around.
Yeah, I know.
Every few years, he's always trying to make some kind of comeback. And then I guess we're going to be due for a massive scandal in the next year or so. That's usually how his rhythms work. Do you think that, because like part of this podcast, which is like the serious part of this podcast, even though it's very silly, is like, I think one of the things we do is like we get to know someone through how they have interacted with pizza their whole life. And we can learn a lot from people based on where they're from, their local eating habits, how they prefer pizza. Do you think that there is any connection between the way someone orders pizza and their politics?
I don't think so. I mean, I wouldn't say there's any connection between the way someone orders pizza specifically and their politics. Now, the way someone may like just talk to service people, right?
Sure.
The way someone may like respond to the people who are responsible for making whatever food item it is, that kind of thing, that can tell you something about someone's politics. So they're not always, I'm sure there are plenty of very good liberals who are like absolutely terrible to the people who are in food service.
No one has a monopoly on jerks.
Yeah, no one has a monopoly on jerks. Yeah. And I'm sure there are people with whom I strongly disagree with their politics, but they're like kind and decent to food service people or custodial staff. I mean, like famously Clarence Thomas, like world historical piece of shit, is super great with the people who work at the Supreme Court, like not just the clerks or the professional staff, but sort of the custodial staff, the people who are doing the blue collar labor.
Well, in the radio world too, I would hear people would be like, "If you work for Rush Limbaugh, he's the nicest guy." I'm like, what? Okay. I don't know if I want to know that information, but so to your point, who knows? No political party has a monopoly on jerks, or I guess be nice in your personal life. Does Virginia, do you think, because I would imagine you're probably a Virginia expert, do you think, is there a style that is, I mean, we talked about ordering chains growing up, but do you think at this point there is any type of style of pizza in Virginia?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Now I'm like going through I've eaten pizza recently in Richmond and Hampton Roads in the Northern Virginia area. So if there are if I notice any commonalities or anything, and I'm not sure there's a style. I'll do an analogy. So like there are regional barbecue styles, right? Like there's North Carolina barbecue, there's Kansas City barbecue, there's Texas barbecue, but Texas barbecue has become, if there's something close to like a national style, Texas barbecue has become something like a national style. Like if someone opens up a barbecue restaurant in Brooklyn, it's probably going to be a Texas barbecue style restaurant. Virginia doesn't have like a particular barbecue style. Maybe if you're closer to the North Carolina border, it's like North Carolina. But like, I think if you were to open a brand new barbecue spot in Alexandria, it's probably going to be influenced by Texas barbecue style. And in the same way, I'd say that, there's like, in terms of like fancier restaurant pizzas, like the Neapolitan is becoming sort of like kind of like a thing. If someone's opening up a pizza restaurant, unless they are like themselves like New Yorkers or like from New Haven or Detroit, they kind of default, I'm going to do kind of a fancy Neapolitan style pizza. And I can find that pretty easily around the state. Like it's not hard to find one of those restaurants. It would be harder to find like a Detroit style restaurant.
Okay.
or like the Chicago style, the tavern style, not the deep dish.
Okay.
We usually end our interview asking a couple of quick fire questions. Yes, no, short answers. You're leaving the Times building. You're going back down to Virginia. You're going to go to Upside or Joe's around the corner. Will you wait for a fresh pie to get a slice, or will you take whatever's in the display?
Oh man, it depends. It depends on how hungry I am. If I am starving, I'll just take whatever is in the display case. But like, I kind of eat late lunch, and so if it's like on the early, I kind of eat lunch late. I don't know why I'd reverse that. If it's on the earlier side, I'll wait. I'll ask, hey, you got anything coming out? And I'll wait. I'm in New York, not infrequently. But I've never, and I keep like a running every time I see something about like a notable pizza spot. Like I make a little note of it.
Good for you.
And one of these days when I just have like a bit more time here than like a day or two, I am gonna just like go try slices.
Do a pizza crawl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let us know.
Yeah.
I'm wondering. This is an aside, but you go into a slice shop. Do you get one or two slices? You're talking about lunch. Is that a what's your move there?
Lunch, one slice.
Okay.
I'm a one slice guy and like a bottle of water.
Okay.
If I'm on vacation, especially with my wife and like we're doing lots of walking, maybe I'll get two slices.
Okay.
The thing about pizza, right? Very portable and it can be very quick. And so if it's the kind of situation where I am just walking around, like we're visiting someplace, like I see it as sort of like, okay, this is like lunch part one. So we're gonna eat this slice.
A snack. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll walk a couple more miles and then maybe we'll get another slice somewhere else. Maybe we'll try something else that's like in a similar snacky thing.
That's also in New York City, especially. It is a thing you do in between what you're doing, if that makes sense. Oh, we got to the thing early. Let's get a slice of pizza. It's almost like right. It's almost like that. It's hard to be bored in New York City, but if you have a quick moment of like, where are we going? It's like, let's get a slice. Like it's just, it fills gaps. It's barely a meal.
Can I say I think the single best depiction of the New Yorker's relationship to pizza is the opening crawl towards the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Is it the second one or is it the first one? I think it's the first one.
Where they're waiting for a Domino's in the first one. I don't remember the opening for the second one.
Because in one of the two, it's actually just sort of like a series of shots of New Yorkers eating pizza in like various states.
Oh, yeah. I think that is the second one because one of the guys is a pizza delivery boy. I think you're right.
This.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I recently rewatched all three of those movies just out of both out of like, do these hold up after, 25 years? And then also my kids love Ninja Turtles. So I was like, let me watch these first, see if I feel like they're appropriate to show. The second two are bad.
Yes.
And totally appropriate to show to kids. They're just obvious cash grabs.
Yeah.
I can just imagine the producers. Like, we still got these suits.
You can hear the conversation anymore.
Yes. Right. You can hear the conversation.
Yes. No weapons. No weapons, too.
The first one is great.
It is also good.
Maybe not quite for kids.
It's dark, man. That era, we were like all black Batman. We were like the Robin Hood that came out then is insanely dark. Sheriff of Nottingham's like a devil worshiper. Like there's crazy like sex crimes. It's horrible. Like we were so dark back then. And the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie is really dark.
Right. It has more in common with like the Warriors than it does.
That's a good point.
Than it does with like its sequels.
That's very interesting. Yeah, they're kind of similar movies. That's interesting.
It's also not to make this a Ninja Turtles podcast, but I always have to mention this when I talk about the first movie.
Yeah.
It has Judy Hogue plays April O'Neil and Elias Koteas plays Casey Jones.
Yes.
And there's a sequence in that movie where it's after was it Raphael gets like the shit kicked out of him and they're like recouping because they think he's basically on the brink of death and he has to like heal and recoup. And so they're in April O'Neil's like family home. And there's this scene where like Elias Koteas and like Koteas, Hogue, they're like in their early 20s, they're like hot as hell.
Yeah.
And like Koteas is like just like rubbing her shoulder. And you're like, this is for a children's movie. This is strikingly horny. Like, what is this doing in this movie?
Yeah.
I was watching and I was like if you tried to put this in a Marvel movie, they'd send you to jail.
And it's like they're not even glammed up. They look like they're like, they look like New Yorkers. Like it's a very funny, like weirdly.
And they just have like insane sexual tension. You're just like, does the director know this is happening? Like, what is?
Oh, they know. They know.
For the record, there is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pizza cookbook, and yes, I do own it.
Oh, that rules.
Back to the pizzerias. Do you blot or not blot when it comes to the oil on a slice?
I don't blot. What you're eating a slice of pizza.
Listen,
this is.
I'm here with you. I agree.
It's sometimes when I'm on TikTok, you're scrolling and you'll see like a video of someone like making food. And it's like, I'm going to brown the ground beef, and then like drain the fat. Listen, you're already cooking with like ground beef. You're going to throw cheese on this. Like, what do you do? Just accept that that's what you're eating. You're not going to make it meaningfully healthier, but you are going to lose a lot of flavor. You're eating a slice of pepperoni pizza. There's going to be grease on it. The grease is delicious. So just like go for it.
I couldn't say it better. Best way to dress a New York City slice. You've got your Parmesan, your oregano, your garlic, your red pepper flakes. Some people even put salt on it. I'm wondering what you do.
I do oregano and a lot of red pepper flakes.
Okay. Do you take the lid off of the shaker when you do your red pepper flakes, or do you do the whole like?
I do. I do. I would feel weird taking the lid off. Okay.
White slice, yes or no?
Yes.
Is ranch okay on pizza? Do you think?
On pizza, so to be clear, is this ranch like in place of sauce, or is this like ranch as like a dip?
I have seen it as a base, but there's also the post-bake drizzle, and then there's the crust dip. So any of the above.
Yeah.
Crust dip, perfectly acceptable. Not for me, but I wouldn't be like, what are you doing? But if someone were to present to me a slice of pizza with like a ranch drizzled on it, I'd be like, what is this?
I'd try it.
Is there any way that you eat pizza alone that you wouldn't do with other people?
Alone that I wouldn't do with other people?
We've had people standing over the sink naked, eating their slices with stuff falling off.
Naked,
they don't have to.
See, I do that around other people.
Yeah.
No.
I eat much more if I'm alone. So that's like an example. I would eat much more. I try to curb my appetite if I'm around others. They don't need to see that.
Yeah, I think that might be it. If I were like a single guy living by myself and I ordered a pizza, like might be tempted to eat like 3 or 4 slices.
Well,
with other people, just sort of 5. Like, okay, I'll eat 3 tops.
Yeah.
Is there a topping that you don't like on pizza?
I don't like black olives. Don't like artichokes. And sometimes like a veggie pizza that will have like I don't like artichokes.
Tinny, too big. What don't you like about the artichokes?
I just don't like the flavor of artichokes.
Artichoke pizza though in New York City is pretty delicious, I'll have to say.
Otherwise otherwise there's not been a pizza topping that I've recoiled from,
Okay. Is there anything about pizza that makes you mad?
Makes me mad.
Yeah.
I mean, it does kind of suck that a food so good has so little nutritional value.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of like, I don't want it to be the case that a single slice of pizza is probably sort of like a quarter of your like caloric intake for the day.
Yeah.
But that's just the case.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
Really is.
Do you judge people who leave behind pizza bones, the crusts on their plate, or are you one of said people?
I will admit I do judge people. I like that. I like that part. I like eating eating the slice, and then you have the crust, and then like a little bit of the sauce part and a little bit of the cheese part, and then you eat that crust. Yeah. I my wife leaves the crust.
Yeah,
and I don't like that.
My last one. How do you like to reheat a slice?
Sometimes I do like to just eat a slice cold.
There you go.
Man after Alfred's own heart.
Yeah.
Occasionally, especially if we have it for dinner, we order a pizza, we have it for dinner, and there's like not really enough for like another meal, and there's like 2 or 3 slices. My breakfast might just be a slice of cold pizza and like an espresso.
Absolutely.
But if I'm reheating, then it's either in the oven to reheat. Sometimes for a single slice, I'll do on the stove. Like you put it on a cold pan, you turn the heat on, and that brings it to temp. Never in the microwave, and then the toaster oven sometimes.
Well,
All right.
I like to end it with what is the perfect slice? What's on it? Where are you getting it?
Ultimately, I like a bit of simplicity on my slices. So a topping combination that I really like is like sausage and red onion.
That's a good combo. That is a great combo.
Italian sausage,
Yeah.
red onion. And just thinking, since most of the time I'm eating pizza in Charlottesville, it's going to be from Dr. Ho's.
Okay.
A Dr. Ho's slice. Make your own pizza, and then like sausage and like red onion. And a little heavy on the red onion because I like the sharpness of the red onion as a contrast to everything else.
You ever had onion on post bake applied raw? It's actually pretty good.
I have, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there was a trend some years back where you got like people just put like whole salads on top of a pizza.
Well, Crozet does the salad pizzas also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
But I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I like
Can be great.
I like that, like the sharpness of the dressing. I like all the textures and stuff happening there. But no, sausage, red onion, Dr. Ho's.
Well, Jamelle, this was perfect. I know it's just one of many food podcasts you're just always doing, and it's just one. We're not original at all, but thank you so much. This was awesome.
Thank
It's
you.
my pleasure. Thank you guys for having me.
Attention, everyone, coast to coast and all the ships at sea.
It's time for pizza news.
Vegan products continue to change the pizza landscape, and Violife's heavy cream and Parmesan recently got a big shout out from one of the Pizza Sphere's stars. Dan Richer of Razza in New Jersey liked them so much he put a spicy vegan vodka pie on the menu that looks so good. Alfred, it makes me want to cross the river. Check out the interview with Dan on PMQ. Is there any place viral pizza topper Hot Honey won't go? There's a new Hot Honey pepperoni pizza dip made with cream cheese, tomatoes, tomato paste, pepperoni, mozzarella, and neufchâtel out from Fresh Cravings, according to Trend Hunter. Alfred, I thought maybe ice cream, but Cold Stone and Van Leeuwen have both done this. Maybe baby food? Baby food's probably safe from Hot Honey, right? I mean, I'm hoping. Wow, what an amazing legacy for Mike Kurtz of Mike's Hot Honey. It's pretty amazing.
Is there hot anything in baby food?
That's why I'm thinking maybe it's safe. I have no idea. To continue my grumpy old man vibe here, I am, for one, not celebrating the temporary return of New York's Dollar Slice. Have you heard this? I saw this in Forbes. The online restaurant delivery service Seamless is doing a month-long promo giving New Yorkers a shot at 5 cheese slices for $1 each per day at 40 shops in the 5 boroughs. It's a digital-only pickup promo. Am I missing something? Is the Dollar Slice that much of a planned part of people's lives that you're going to get on your phone, go to your app, your Seamless app, and go in here and get a Dollar Slice this way? I don't know. It just seems like there's something I'm missing or something they're missing.
Today's topic is
Bosco sticks. Chicago menus often feature pizza bread and Bosco sticks. Now, John Crothers calls them sacrificial bread that stave off hunger until pizza arrives. He likens them to medieval archers and lancers. Quote, they won't win the war, but they'll hopefully knock a couple of friends' knights off their horses so there's more pizza for you when it arrives, end quote. Bosco sticks are more of a recent creation than pizza bread. They're soft cheese breadsticks brushed with butter and parm, served with dipping marinara, an invention of Mark Artinian, who founded Bosco's as a carry-out pizzeria in Warren, Michigan, a suburb of Detroit. Near a high school in 1988, Bosco's spokesperson, Lee Norden Sr., explained to Eater that students visiting for lunch inspired Artinian's shift to food distribution, launching the first commercially made frozen stuffed crust pizza, supposedly. That's a quote. In 1995, Bosco says Bosco sticks were invented when one day the crust fell off. Serendipity aside, it was acquired by Tyson Foods in 2014, and Bosco sticks have become beloved school lunch fare across much of America with the tagline, from corner pizzeria to a cornerstone of lunchtimes. Alfred, you've never had these? They're on menus all across Chicago. It's crazy.
Okay, yes. No, I am a horrible Chicago land area person. I'm a horrible Midwesterner. I'm a horrible person. So these look like they are the crust of a stuffed crust pizza, but served in a mozzarella stick form.
I think you should
is
say
that
this
correct?
the way you sounded on the recent clip with
gosh.
Peter Reinhardt.
Hey guys, they're Bosco sticks. I want some Bosco sticks. They're like mozzarella sticks.
I didn't want to get into this, but there is a clip that we shared when we did a really fun interview on Pizza Quest. It's on our Instagram for a Pizza Pod Party. Follow that on Instagram. And there's a clip, and for some reason, I heard it. I don't know if it was for the first time, but I heard it today, and I sound like Daffy Duck, and my voice is very high. And it sounds like I'm spitting all over the mic.
Day. You started my day off so
It
well.
was shocking.
It was so great.
It made me laugh very hard, and I started to also get very sad all at the same time. But it is something. Maybe I'll play it at the end or something. I'll figure out a way. But oh boy, does it sound weird? And it's my voice, and I don't know. And I'm terrified that it's on the internet.
It's just how you
right
always sound. You just didn't know it.
Yeah, that's what I'm terrified of. Good Lord. It was jarring. Wow. Yeah, so find that. Any comments for my comment about Bosco sticks?
Oh, wait, I don't remember what you. I was too.
I was too
busy
it.
imagining you saying it the way that you sounded on Instagram. That's all.
Oh, I just said that they were like the crust of a stuffed crust pizza, but served in mozzarella stick form.
I've never had a Bosco stick. How about that? I just know what they are. I've seen. I was so curious because I saw them on menus all across Chicago that I started going down one of these rabbit holes where I was like, "What is this? Where did this come from? Why is it everywhere? What's it like?" Then I talked to John. This is what happens with me. This is my craziness. I don't know what something is, so I go find out about it, and then I make it my mission to go and have one the next time I can. So that it will be the next visit I make to Chicago. I will be getting some Bosco sticks.
But once again, to me, if you're getting this before the pizza's served, it's like too much. I want room for the pizza. If I order a calzone, I just want the calzone. If I'm ordering a pizza, I just want the pizza. So that's.
No, I completely agree with you. This is why I don't really, garlic knots, stromboli, calzones, none of them really make sense to me. But when I come across one of these things or Jamaica beef patties that I've never had, I fall in love with and interested in what it is, and I want to go and have it. So I may never have Bosco sticks again, but I will be having them at least once.
I'm sure we'll have a conversation about this another time, but I am aware of pizza puffs in the Chicagoland area.
Yes.
That is something I am aware of, and I found to be delightful when I was a child. Thank you so much for listening to today's Pizza Pod Party. I'm Alfred Schultz, and thank you so much. Please support our podcast. Follow us on all that social media garbage, and spread the word if you can. We're doing this independently. We don't know if we're going to do one every single week, but we're having fun when we do it.
Follow him on Twitter. He's Alpha Schultz. No T in Schultz. I'm Arthur Bovino at NYC Best Pizza. Follow the show at Pizza Pod Party. And remember, great pie is one. You're already thinking about having again before you finish the first slice.
See, to me, it was the spitting of my S's, the sort of exaggerated Daffy Duckness of the audio that I guess I'll just have to play here. It's ridiculous.
It wasn't that bad. It really wasn't.
It was real bad. It's real bad. You be the judge. See you next week.
There's a lot to chew on there, pun intended. So, we have people that proselytize pineapple on pizza, which I thought was surprising.
The Pizza Pod Party. Please rate and review the podcast. The Pizza Pod Party is hosted by Arthur Bovino and Alfred Schultz. Produced by Arthur Bovino and Alfred Schultz. Created by Arthur Bovino and Alfred Schultz. Researched by Arthur Bovino. Engineered, edited, and mixed by Alfred Schultz. Voiced by the fabulous Holly Palmieri.